Time is a unique, amazing resource. I hate wasting time. It's just way too precious. In this video, I'll show you some practical ways for you to become a time management expert. Time's made up of lots of numbers. 168 is the number of hours we have in a week. This is, I consider, a gift, the number of hours we have each week. Everybody has the same amount of hours. Nobody has more or less, yet some are more productive than others. And so how do you make the most of your 168 hours? Here are my 4 strategies to do that. The first one is to clarify your values and priorities. What's important to you and how do you prioritize those? People tend to struggle with prioritization, so we'll get into how to do that better. When you look at your possible values and priorities, sleep and rest, when we were younger, that wasn't much of an interest. When we were younger, that wasn't much of a requirement, but as we get older, it definitely is a requirement. Exercise is more and more important so we can maintain our flexibility, maintain balance, some strength. This is important as we get older as well. Relationships need to be valued and prioritized, otherwise they struggle and suffer. Certain friends we need to spend more time with them. Work, if you're still working. If you're not working, that's great. You may want to value priorities or travel or your entertainment. Some people value cleaning their home and keeping their home clean. Or specific projects, right? Or maybe your doctor said, hey, you need to work on your diet for your health. Whatever your values and priorities are, that needs to be focused on and what you spend your time on. Because if you let somebody else's priorities take over yours, then you're going to be spending time doing what everybody else wants to do. And perhaps you spent most of your life doing that while you're working. But in the second half of life, it's important that we understand our values and we live according to our values and we set priorities for those so we get those accomplished. It's very frustrating to go to bed at night and feel like you're very busy, but you didn't get anything done or you didn't accomplish your values or priorities. Our values and priorities change over time. They're not set forever. 10 years ago, you had different values and priorities than you do today, and maybe 5 years from now, they may change again. But being able to constantly be aware of what's most important to you and prioritizing that so that they don't get crowded out of your life. This is how you make the most of your time. It's really easy to not pay attention to this and let everybody else's emergencies and urgencies and needs take over the use of your time. And when you do that, you're not very productive for yourself. I'm not suggesting we don't look out for other people or help them, but nobody's going to protect your priorities better than you will. The second strategy is to identify, remove, and avoid your distractions. We live in a very noisy, loud, distracted world. And more, I see people distracted by many, many things. And these distractions really, quite frankly, keep us away from doing what we value and we prioritize. Sometimes it's very subtle. Sometimes it's very flagrant. And so being able to do this is really important. What are some of the things that could be distractions? A big one is our phone. These smartphones have kind of, quite honestly, made us somewhat dumb. There's so many things you can do on your phone. You have access to the whole world, all this information. And, one of my axioms in life is just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can look up and search everything on your phone doesn't mean you should be doing that. So maybe your phone is your biggest distraction. Maybe your friends that just sap all your time and energy. They're bored, so they call you up or they come over and distract you. Maybe it was a family member that does that as well. And be able to identify what these are is really important. TV and social media is designed to kind of suck us in and draw our attention. There's nothing wrong with those, but if they become all-consuming or we get caught up in them, we just spend all day scrolling our phones, then that's a distraction that's keeping us from focusing on our values and priorities. Pets are good, but they require time, attention, and limit where you can go and what you can do. So they could be a distraction. Housework, laziness, being overwhelmed, not having a purpose or focus, these things will just leave you kind of spinning your wheels and treading water and not really going anywhere. So really kind of knowing really honestly what it is that distracts you. And FOMO is fear of missing out, not feeling like you have to say yes to every opportunity, whether it aligns with your mission, your vision. FOMO is the fear of missing out, which means maybe you say yes to everything because you're afraid of not having the opportunity again, whether or not it aligns with your values and priorities or not. Or you say no to everything because you're afraid if you say yes to something, you're going to miss out on a better opportunity a few days later. So identifying and removing these are really important. Now, if you have the willpower to be able to avoid these, great. If you don't, then you might have to get some help to get rid of some of these things, remove them from your life. If you're addicted to TV and you can't get out of bed or get off the sofa and TV's just sucking all your time up, then maybe you turn off the TV or get rid of the TV for a while until you can create a new habit of not being dependent on the TV. But without removing these distractions and avoiding them, you're going to have a really hard time spending time on what you value and what you prioritize. So knowing what you value and prioritize is important, but also removing these distractions is equally as important so that you can get to those. The third step is to schedule what you're going to do. Too many people in life just kind of react to what's going on in their life, and that's why they don't get a lot done. It's very reactive, not proactive. This step sounds simple, and it really, quite frankly, is, but it needs to be done intentionally. So what do I mean by scheduling what you're going to do? When we think of a schedule, I often think of a calendar, and I use two different kinds of calendars. I use an event calendar and a task calendar. An event calendar is typically what most people, how they think of a calendar. You put dates, you put things you need to show up for or be at on an event calendar. You need to go to the doctor's office, you need to go to a birthday party, you're going to meet somebody for coffee, you're going to go on vacation. These are when you're going to show up for things. It's an event calendar. And then the more important calendar for me is what I call a task calendar. And the task calendar is things I need to do, the tasks I need to do. And I place on this calendar the tasks that that I need to do. But not only that, when I use the task calendar, I think of something I do. Let's say I need to go, I need to schedule an appointment with a doctor. Okay, I need to schedule an appointment. So I put that on the task calendar, and I put it on the day I'm going to do it. Not when I want it done by, but the day I'm going to do it. So it creates a level of priority to the task when they come along. Because I believe that in life we spend our time at events or doing tasks. That's kind of what we do. Typically when you're at an event, you're not doing the task. You're just kind of showing up and you're at the event. When you're doing a task, that's when you're not at an event, that's when you have time to do your tasks. So I use these two calendars to kind of schedule what I'm going to do. That way I have a place to put every task I think of or want to do. And at the same time, I prioritize when I'm going to do it, right? So these are the two types of calendars that I use to schedule what I'm going to do. Life's made up of events and tasks. Events are things we have to show up for, we have to be at, and the rest of the time we have opportunity to do tasks. So when we're not at events, we can be doing tasks. I keep these calendars separate because I'm not doing them at the same time. I'm doing one or the other, and it helps me keep these tasks separated from the events. I don't typically put a time, like a time of day, like 3 o'clock on a task. I just put the day I want to do it on, right? So if I'm going to cut the grass in the lawn, cut my lawn, then I'll put Saturday, I'm going to cut lawn. I don't put a time of the day I'm going to do it. I just put it on that day, and that's my task calendar. If I'm going to go to a dinner party on Sunday, I'll put that on the event calendar, and I'll have a time that'll be a dinner party at 7 p.m., and I'll put the time and place I need to be for that. So that's how I handle events and tasks. But what you're doing is you're scheduling what you want to do. Otherwise, you could create a task list all day long, but until you prioritize when you're going to do it, it may never get done. It likely won't get done. Only the fun things typically get done on a task calendar. The fourth step is to simplify your decision making. We make decisions every day, and decisions take time to be made. How do you simplify your decision making? Well, first of all, understand that every decision takes time to make. You have to weigh the pros and cons. You have to think about what the opportunities are and the threats to it, and how will it best serve you. So every decision you make takes time. Well, if you only have so much time in a day, then you're burning up time trying to make these decisions. So simplify the regular daily decisions you make. And I'll give you some examples of what those are. And then try to create routines. When we create routines, we do things without thinking about them because they become a habit. Here are some examples of daily decisions that we make. So every day we get up and we put clothes on, probably. And how many times do you stand at your closet or your dresser and think, what am I going to wear today? And if you do this every day, you're spending time trying to make that decision. So some people minimize their wardrobe to a few things that they really like, and all they have to do is finding a clean version of their outfit to wear, and that cuts down the decision-making time spent on that. That's why uniforms are helpful. And if you kind of create a simple wardrobe that you can use, then your time wasted trying to figure out what to wear gets reduced. We also eat every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe not all three, but you eat something. And a lot of time is wasted trying to figure out what you're going to eat. You stand in the refrigerator or the pantry, think, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? This is a incredible, huge waste of time because it's no surprise you're going to have to eat something. So meal planning, laying out from the whole week what you want to eat, and making sure that food is there or a way to get the food is already worked out, that will save you lots and lots of time. And this gets compounded because you put clothes on every day and you eat every day. And if you're spending time, minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days worth of time spent on this simple decision-making process over a year's time. And you would be able to redeem that time if you simplified that process and have that time to do other things. Even exercising. If you don't make that simple for yourself and have an exercise plan, if it's too vague and not specific, you probably won't do it. You'll just think about it. You'll try to make decisions about it. But if you have a plan for it, then you're more likely to do it, and you'll get it done quicker. As well as our entertainment, what we read, listen to, and watch. There are endless opportunities in the entertainment area now, and sometimes so many options really paralyze us, and we can't make a decision. If we have a choice of two things, that tends to be a quicker decision. But if we have 200 things to pick from, it's a really hard time spent wasting kind of figuring out all the 200 options and which one's the best one. So one of the strategies for simplifying decision making as it relates to entertainment is as you talk to people that you have liked interests with, ask them what they're reading, ask them what they're listening to, what podcasts, what shows they're watching, what movies they're watching, and take note of it and kind of have a short list of things that you would consider looking at, so you don't waste time scrolling through preview movies on the TV and then trying to pick one and then it's a bad fit. You wasted all this time. So create kind of a little bit of a strategy so that you can simplify your decision making as it relates to what you wear, what you eat, how you exercise, and even your entertainment. One of the ways to simplify your decision making is to create routines and habits. This starts to create as time savings. If you do something regularly and your body learns how to do it, you kind of can do it without thinking about it if it's a routine. If it's new every time, there's a lot more thought and time that has to go into decision making. But when something becomes a routine and then it becomes an automatic habit, your body can kind of go on autopilot and do it. What are some of the routines that you can do that might happen here? Maybe your routine going to bed, routine getting up, your routine for making a meal, how you get to work, how you drive, where you drive somewhere. Those become routines and habits that you don't have to focus much on it. You're able to just have a habit that helps you save time. So these are the 4 strategies that I use to help become more productive and efficient in my use of time. Knowing what I value and prioritize, identifying and removing distractions, scheduling what I want to do, and simplifying my decision making. These 4 things really help me save a lot of time and be much more productive. Okay, don't waste any time. Get to work using some of these practical tips I've given you to become a time management expert. And you soon will realize you're not wasting time but making the very most of it.